Welcome to Yoga with Carly. Today we have Jenna McCafferty joining us today. She's the studio director of Lokah Sangha Yoga in Sulakaut. And today we're going to be sharing with you a wall practice. This wall practice is designed to give you a sense of connection, to work on alignment, just to make you feel a little more supported in your practice. Wall practice you can take literally anywhere with you that you have a wall. So if you're traveling, if you're in an airport, it's a great go-to practice. All right, so we'll start with the centering. Jenna, if you want to just sit up nice and tall. Jenna's sitting up onto a blanket, which you can do at home. And just relax your hands down onto your knees. Close your eyes. Start to focus on your breath. Taking long, deep breaths in. And then exhale through your mouth, sort of sighing out, letting go of any tension or stress you might be holding from your day. Taking it easy here and just getting focused for our practice. One more deep breath in, full breath out. Good, and then we'll gently open our eyes. So we're gonna start with a seated mountain pose, and since we're using the wall today, Jenna can just press her shoulder blades against the wall, turn your palms to face forward, and you're gonna slowly begin to lift your arms all the way up the wall. And if you can, try to maintain contact with your arms. For everyone that's not going to work, you might be a little bit away from the wall, but just try your best here to use the support of the wall. Feel the wall behind you and just stretching your arms up as high as you can. Okay, here again, long, deep breaths, feeling that rib cage opening, so feeling that expansion and contraction in the ribs. Go ahead and staying here for just a few more breaths. And then we can slowly, the same way, bring your hands back down the wall and then back to your knees. Good. Now we're going to do a joint mob for the neck. So you're going to inhale, look up to the sky, and exhale, bring your chin to your chest. And if the back of your head touches the wall, it doesn't really matter. Just kind of feel that little massage into the scalp. So going with your breath, inhaling deeply, exhaling completely. Good. And then we'll come back to neutral and we'll look side to side. So trying to keep the chin parallel to the mat and just looking in both directions. Perfect. Couple more here with the breath, inhaling one way, exhaling the other way, and then bringing it back to the center. Okay, so we're gonna raise the arms up the wall again, so reaching up as high as you can. Now you're gonna lean to one side, so you're gonna drop your right arm down. Good, keep your left arm lifting up and rotating open. So when you're rotating, you're trying to keep your left sit bone down so that you're not lifting your hips off the mat. And long deep breaths here into the side body. Just do a few of these gentle warm-ups to get the body ready for our wall practice today. Good, and then we'll take the right arm back up to the sky. Inhale and stretch your body, lengthen through your spine, and then exhale through to the other side. Good, same thing here, rooting down through the right hip, opening up across the right body, right side of the body. And finding the breath there. Good, and then coming back to center again, just reaching up. Now this time we're gonna reach forward. So you're gonna kind of press your back and hips into the wall and reach as far forward and down as you can. And you can drop your head. Good, so she's stretching into her low back and sort of hip area. And you can always do this with legs stretched out. If you can't cross your legs, don't feel like you can't practice yoga. You definitely can. You'll just extend your legs. It's not a problem at all. Good, and then we'll gently come back up to where you were. Now, what you're gonna do is extend your legs out and keep them bent at the knee now. So pull your knees kind of in towards your chest. You're gonna try to wrap your hands as much as you can around your knees and then drop your head in. So you're sort of rounding down. And it's a nice quiet posture. It's a way to be a little more reflective. You can breathe into the belly, so the belly will feel that pressure of your legs and creating a nice pressure into the abdomen. Good. And then we'll gently release the legs down. And we're gonna come to all fours. So you'll just face the front of the mat. The toes are gonna touch the wall. So I'll just take that blanket away. Toes are against the wall, so you're feeling that contact. You're also pressing down through your hands. Today's practice is all about making contact, finding that support in your practice. So we'll inhale, arch the back here, look up. Exhale, round, tucking your tailbone under, tucking the chin in. Good, inhaling. Exhaling. So going with your breath, feeling and sensing the movement all along the spine. Good. That's it. Just a few more like this to unwind the spine. And then we'll move now into chaturanga. So if you want to take your hands one step forward, good. Kind of shift your weight into modified plank. So the shoulders are over the wrists, the belly is drawing in, you're nice and strong here. You're gonna lower the elbows straight back. So find that strength, come down, rotate your shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then just gently lift up into baby cobra. So if you can, take your hands away. If you can't, just keep them there for support. Kind of squeezing the glutes and the feet together if you can. Good, and then from here, Jenna's gonna come into downward facing dog. So feet will come hip distance apart, heels will still be up the wall. Yes, and then you'll lift the hips up, and drop your head between your arms. Good, you can keep your knees a little bent and work on arching up through the low back. So you'll see this nice angle of Jenna's back here. Good, and then Jenna's gonna come back down onto her knees. Good, and then we'll transition up to standing. We're gonna move to standing, and Jenna's gonna face the wall. We're gonna move into downward dog against the wall. So what she's gonna do is place her hands on the wall. You're gonna walk back until your elbows are straight, and you're gonna press into your hands, wrists are at shoulder height. You're gonna pull your hips back and then drop in. So the same sort of feeling of downward dog, except you don't have to be all the way down to the floor. So you're still feeling a stretch all the way up your hamstring, down your back, and then especially through your chest. And you can do this pose even just with a couch. You can hold onto your countertop, whatever you want to do to help open up your chest and also your hamstrings and legs. Okay, good. So Jenna, come all the way up. So slide your hands up the wall, walk towards the wall. So you're pretty close in. Your head's going to be a little bit away from the wall. Reach up as high as you can, and then just try to bring your forehead to the wall. Good, and then you'll decide if you want to back your feet up a little more to feel a little more stretch in the chest. Nice, good. So long, deep breaths here into the chest. Feel that nice opening. And then you can even slide your hands a little closer together, even thumbs touching overhead, and you might feel a little different sensation of opening in the chest. Good. Now from here, you're going to just stand a little closer to the wall. Turn your right hip to the wall and right arm's gonna be up the wall. So we're gonna start by drawing the hips a little bit away from the wall, the feet a little bit away from the wall, and you're gonna draw that right hip to touch the wall. So you're leaning in through the hip, you're gonna reach up through your right hand, and you're just gonna lower your left hand down so that you're side bending with that pressure from the wall, kind of that support of the wall with your hip there, creating more of a stretch for you. Okay, staying here, a couple more breaths. Good, and then we'll stand up straight. Okay, walk your feet in closer to the wall, and then draw that right hand behind you. So it's at shoulder level, the wrist is gonna come down, and you're opening up through the right chest and pec now. Okay, left hand can come to the left hip. If you want more of a stretch, you'll kind of turn towards your left through the left shoulder. Good. Okay. And for some of us, this is a very deep stretch, so you might want to be a little careful about how far you're going into it. Jenna's pretty flexible, so she's got some opening in the chest, but at home, you might be even standing out from the wall quite a bit more. Okay, now Jenna's gonna bend her elbow 90 degrees. Good. You're gonna take your left palm to the wall, and you're gonna turn your head over to the right side, so to that arm that's bent, and it's a little bit of a twist. You're kind of drawing your chest towards the wall. That's it. Good. From here, she'll turn right to face the wall again. Stretch your arms up overhead, walk your hips back, and come into that same downward dog against the wall, and just kind of even things out. Take a few deep breaths in, full exhales out. Good. Now we're gonna repeat the same sequence on the left side. So Jenna's gonna walk again up the wall. Good. Drop her head against the wall. Good. And then we're going to turn to the left side. So her left hip's going to come towards the wall. She's going to keep her feet out a little bit on this first one. Left arm's reaching up as high as it can, elbow straight. She's going to drop her left hip in towards the wall, and then lean down towards her right while still creeping her fingers up the wall to create that lengthening and that opening in the side body. Okay. Perfect. Now from here, coming into that same position as before, so you're going to stand up closer to the wall. Bring your feet in, and then drop the arm behind you. So you want the wrist level with the shoulder, and you're just gonna stretch out. And if you wanna go deeper, hand's gonna be on your right hip, and you're just gonna turn to the right. That's it. Good, and then we'll bend the left elbow 90 degrees. You can take the right hand down onto the wall as well, and then twist looking out over your left shoulder. And this hand can probably come right against the wall. Nice. Good, and then from here again, back to the wall, and we'll reset with another downward dog. Good. Walk towards the wall, stand up, and we'll move to the next position. So just standing a couple of feet away from the wall, and you might have to play around with how far away from the wall you want to be. You're gonna take one foot forward, the other foot back, and you wanna have squared hips, okay? So both your hips are aligned facing the wall, and you're gonna extend your arms forward. Your front leg's gonna stay straight, and you're gonna press your hands into the wall. Then you're just gonna start to lower down to wherever you feel comfortable. This is probably good here. You're feeling a big stretch in your hamstring, right, Jenna? Yes, so just stay about here. Long, deep breath, straight front leg. For some of us, we might need to keep a little bend in the front knee, especially people with really tight hamstrings. Okay, and we want to stay here for about 30 seconds to a minute. So we'll just sort of count your breaths if you want to count to about 5 to 10 breaths, then you're in a good range of how long you want to hold each posture. We'll do one more deep inhalation, full exhale, bend the front knee, step forward, and then just rest your hands to heart center. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing other side, stepping back the other leg, okay, squaring the hips. You can raise the arms up overhead, and then we're gonna gently reach forward until our hands make contact with the wall. Sometimes you might have to end up scooching further forward or back. Sometimes we get ambitious or we don't really know how far we'll go, and each side is different. So just kind of checking in, squaring the hips, keep the spine long. Long deep breaths here. Good. Good, and when we're doing this practice, be aware of those contact points you're making with the wall. It's a nice way to bring more support and grounding into your life. So just feel and sense that nice contact you're making. It makes the postures just feel more supported, not necessarily making them any easier, but just a little more support and grounding in your practice. Okay, bend your front knee, step forward. Good, so we're gonna do another posture called Warrior 3. So Jenna's gonna step back a little bit more, okay? And she's gonna step forward with her right foot. It's a balancing posture, and there's a couple ways of doing this way, and then also with the foot against the wall, which we'll show a little bit differently afterwards. So she's gonna plant her right foot, put the weight into the right foot, lift your arms up to the sky, and then slowly begin to reach for the wall. Good. So there's a whole lot of balance happening on this front leg, a lot of strength happening, and she's gonna try to drop this left hip down. So you wanna try to keep the hips flat as much as possible. The left heel is extending out, the toes are pointing straight down, and she's just leaning towards the wall. So ideally, on the next one, we'll show you stepping back a little further. You just want your fingertips to be able to touch the wall. But this is opening up her chest as well, which is fine for now. Okay, and then gently come back up, step down. We'll take a little further stance back this time, okay? So we'll inhale, reach the arms up, step the left leg forward, and slowly begin your journey forward into Warrior 3. This time I think she'll just get fingertips touching. So this is a little more advanced. This will make you focus on your balance more, and you can always just challenge yourself by taking the hands away, and then if you're feeling wobbly, bringing them back. So you still have that support. Just trying to drop her right hip so it's in line with the left, pushing back through the back heel and toes drawing down towards the mat. Good, and then we'll come back up, join the right foot to the left, and then rest your hands at the heart. Okay, so this one now, Jenna's gonna stand near the wall, facing forward, and I'm gonna give her a block here because this one's a little more challenging. So what you're gonna do is stand a little bit away from the floor and then push your right leg back to the wall so that your foot sole is on the wall. Good. So you might come a little further, so you kind of have to play around, find that space, and then I'm gonna bring that block there that she can rest her hands to. Good. So working on trying to straighten your back leg so the heel is completely planted on the wall, squaring the hips, And then from here, what we're gonna do is you're gonna keep your right hand down and left hand's gonna twist up towards the sky. So this is called revolved half moon pose. Good, and it's a challenge. You can see there's a little bit of shakiness, which is awesome. It just means you're working hard. Good, long deep breaths here. Okay, make sure you're not hyperextending your knee, keeping it a little bit soft for stability. Good, and then you can bring the hand down, step forward, and just come into forward fold. Good. Okay, and we can start from standing again, so we'll stand all the way up to the sky, arms overhead, and exhaling, hands to heart center. And then just releasing that left leg back towards the wall. Good, foot sole planting on the wall, and you kind of want that heel in line with your hip, just the best you can. Hands are gonna reach down for the block. Now left hand's gonna stay down, right arm's gonna reach up. Okay, if you can reach the floor, you might be doing this on the floor, but it's a little bit challenging, so we'll use a block for our practice. Good, and just trying your best to kind of hug the inner thighs towards one another. That will help drop the left hip down and give you some momentum to open up through the right shoulder. Good, right hand's gonna come down, step forward, forward fold, just release that tension. It's a tough posture. Good, and we're actually gonna walk right back to the wall. So you can kind of put your hips against the wall. Your feet can come a little bit forward. Good, from the wall. Bend your knees, let your sit bones touch the wall, a little bit forward, yeah. And let your arms just hang. Good. Nice, so it's a gentle forward fold. You can work on maybe extending your legs by scooching your bum up the wall. Yeah. Okay, so this is a passive forward fold. We're gonna move into a more intense forward fold, and the way you do that is by moving your heels towards the wall. So you can sneak back as far as you wanna go, and then trying to press your sit bones up against the wall and lifting them up towards the ceiling, and that's just gonna extend the origin of the hamstring and create a little more lift and space into the hamstring. Good, long deep breaths here. That's it. Now gentle bend in the knees, press your butt into the wall and slowly come up to stand. And we'll stand in Tadasana or mountain pose, just against the wall, relaxing your arms down by your sides and feeling and sensing those contact points where your body is touching the wall. Okay, taking a moment to just pause, feel, and sense your practice. So yoga is very much an awareness-based practice. Yes, you'll get an amazing workout, you'll feel good, but the purpose of it is to draw your awareness more inward, to become more mindful, and to bring that into your everyday life. Okay, so with that little break now, we're gonna move into a little challenging pose called Utkatasana or chair pose. So what you're gonna do is walk your feet away from the wall, walk your hips away from the wall, and you're gonna raise your arms, push your hips back until you feel your hips touching the wall softly. Yeah, good. Now bend down, squeeze your glutes, come down a little lower. And whenever you're comfortable, you'll just pause there. So you're trying to squeeze the glutes, relax the shoulders away from the neck so that it's soft in your upper back. Keep your knees pointing forward. Some people like to knock them in, so keep them forward. Challenging, right, Jenna? Yes. And then exhale, forward fold. So you can straighten your legs, just relax. You can even keep your hips against the wall if that feels good. And we're gonna do one more variation of that. So Jenna, come back up to stand. Yeah. Push your hips back, arms in front. Come on down to where you're comfortable. Now we're gonna come into a twist. So she's gonna take her arms wide. The left outer edge of the arm is gonna come to the right outer knee. And the right arm's gonna reach up to the sky. So you're kind of pressing back through your hips, but you're still holding the weight in the heels of your foot. Good, breathing into the right side and just making sure that the left knee's not gonna come forward. And it really helps to have that wall, so you're pressing your hips both onto the walls to have that alignment. Okay, come back to center, open your arms, and exhale towards your left. Inhale, opening to the sky. That's it. Breathe into the left side of your chest. That's it. And then bringing it back to center. Exhale, forward fold, release. Good. Awesome. And then we'll come back up to stand. And hands to your heart. So we're gonna move into wide leg forward fold. So Jenna's gonna spread her legs, open your arms, and a good general kind of check is that your ankles will be roughly underneath your wrists. So just go to your own capacity. Heels will be a little bit off the wall, away from the wall, and you're gonna press your sit bones into the wall. Start to lean forward. I'm gonna put a block there just in case Jenna would like to use it. Good, and it sort of makes you feel like you're falling over, so you gotta kind of check in, be careful. Grab a hold of the block. I think Jenna can go all the way to the mat, so we'll let her hands come down. And so what you're trying to do is arch your back, so you're lifting your sit bones up towards the wall and just hanging here. Relax your neck so there's no tension there. And for some really flexible people, you might even press your heels more towards the wall. You might try to lift your tailbone a little higher and even walk your hands in towards the wall. If you're really, really flexible, maybe you'd even put your chest on the wall, but that's a little intense. So let's just see where you're at. Good. So make sure you're exhaling. Remember that forward folds are always, the quality of that posture is to let go. So you can think about letting go of the stress that may be built up in your day. Just letting go of anything you're holding on to that no longer serves you. Good. Feel that support against the wall. Bend your knees and slowly come up to stand. Good, and you're gonna keep the same leg position. Open out your arms now. Turn your right toes out to the right. Okay, so your foot is a little bit off the wall, and you wanna be able to have your hips against the wall and shoulder blades on the wall. So you might adjust your feet until that feels right. Okay, you're gonna move into Trikonasana or triangle. So the right leg's gonna stay straight. You're gonna slide your body as far as you can to the right, keeping the shoulder blades right on the wall. Then take the right arm down, left arm up towards the sky, and you'll stay here. So if you want some support, you can place your hand on your leg, or you can keep your arm sort of freestanding against the wall. Okay. Trying to open up through this left side and through the shoulder. And this adjustment feels really nice. So if you have your partner at home, kid at home, get them to press on your shoulder and on your hip, and it's a nice way to feel that opening in the body. Good, again, breathing deeply. A little gentle bend into the knee. Slowly slide up. And we're gonna move into warrior two. So Jenna's gonna check that her midline is straight. So the spine stays straight the whole time. She's gonna bend into that front knee. Good job. So I see her knees going over her ankle a little bit, so she can take a little wider, a little longer step, and she'll make that adjustment. Good. Hips are trying to open up to the front of the mat, the long edge of the mat. Arms, shoulder blades are there, and they're in a straight line. So sometimes you might have an arm down, one arm up, so you're just trying to make sure that shoulders in a straight line. You can take a look at both your shoulders and just see. Okay. Here you can get a good glimpse of your right knee, and you'll notice if it's really coming in towards your toe side, you're gonna try to draw it towards the wall. Good, now she's gonna take her forearm, her right forearm onto the thigh. She's gonna keep her shoulder blades on the mat and she's gonna lift her left arm up and maybe over. So until you feel that stretch in the side body, the back knee is straight, you're pressing into the outer edge of your foot and you're kind of revolving your body to open up against the wall. Okay, again, watch your right knee knocking in on you. Keep it straight. Good. Now from here, we're gonna move into Ardha Chandrasana. So I'm gonna place a block here by Jenna's right foot. Her right arm's gonna come to the block and she's gonna lift her left leg up. Good. And and right arm to the sky as well. Or sorry, left arm to the sky. Perfect. So trying to straighten your right elbow, pressing down, make sure the block is underneath your right shoulder. And then notice how her toes are pointing towards the front of her mat. She's pressing through her heel and she's trying to work on opening up through the left hip. Good, and then we'll gently come back down. That's a tough pose. Nice, and we'll come back into that wide leg forward fold. So we're gonna repeat everything on the second side. So you can just relax down here. Actually, we'll move into the wide leg forward fold twist variation. So Jenna will look forward, extend her spine, take the right hand down, just right underneath her nose. The left arm's gonna reach up to the sky. Good, opening up through the shoulders. And again, pressing her hips against the wall, and that's gonna really flatten out through the low back. Good, left hand's gonna draw down. Right arm's gonna reach up. And you might even have a block underneath your hand as well if you feel you need that. Good, and then taking the hand down, bending the knees, rising up with a flat back, engaging the core, and opening the arms back out. Okay, turn your left toes out to the left now, moving into triangle. So try to keep your hips and shoulders on the wall, reach as far as you can to the left. And when you can't go any further, then drop the arm down the wall and right arm up towards the sky. So that right hand's gonna palm facing out from the wall, back of the hand on the wall, pressing the shoulders back, pressing the right hip back. Good. Okay, remember not to hyperextend the knee, so there might be a little soft bend in the front knee. Good. Gentle bend in the knee, rising up. Shoulder blades stay on the wall, opening up those arms, bending into the front knee, coming into warrior two. So you want this knee and ankle in a straight line roughly. If it goes way far ahead, then you'll take a longer stance. If you don't want to come down as far, just show them with a straighter leg. If you're doing something like this, it's absolutely fine. Once you get more strength, you can come a little lower. Good, arms are straight, body is straight, it's not lunging forward, and just looking out over your left hand. Okay, also checking on your left knee that it's not knocking in, it's pressing more towards the wall side. Okay, now left forearm's gonna come onto the thigh, right arm's gonna reach up and overhead, so she's feeling this nice stretch along the right side of the body. Okay, once it starts to be difficult, we tend to hold the breath. So just making sure you're focusing on your exhalations and breathing deeply. Okay, now Jenna's gonna shift her weight all onto the left foot. She's gonna reach towards the block, which should be underneath her shoulder. And then she's gonna open up through the shoulder, through the hip, trying to raise her foot the same level as her hip, and yours might not be there yet, it might come with time. Okay, and then just making sure the toes are still tracking forward, you're not doing anything weird with the knee joint, the knee's tracking straight forward over the second toe, and there's a little softness to the knee, not hyperextended, but not super bent either. Good, and then we'll gently make the way back to where you were in the wide leg forward fold, and then resting there. Taking a few deep breaths and just sort of letting go of that tough sequence. Good, we're gonna transition into one more balancing pose, into tree pose. So bend your knees, come on up to stand. So you'll be in that Tadasana pose, feet together, shoulder blades on the wall, arms just out to your sides. And you're gonna grab a hold of your right foot. You're gonna draw the knee out. You might grab your ankle and place your foot into your inner thigh, or anywhere alongside the leg is just fine. Okay, so you're balanced here, you're using the wall, and Jenna's gonna slide her arms up the wall until the palms touch. Okay, if you've got some shoulder issues where your palms just won't come together, that's fine. If you wanna leave them this way too, this is nice as well. Okay, this helps people who have balancing issues, have the wall behind them. It also can really help to get a feeling of how the pose should feel. So Jenna's rooting down through the left foot. She's hugging the left thigh in, left glute in as well, and pushing out through her right knee, working on external rotation of the inner thigh. Good. And it's still a challenge against the wall. It doesn't mean it's simple against the wall. There's still balancing. In effect, there's still a lot of strengthening happening in this pose. Okay, she's gonna turn the knee in now and drop the hands down. And we're gonna just take a moment to feel and sense the effects of the posture, and we'll move to the second side. Okay, so she's gonna turn her toes out. You might just slide your heel on your calf, or you might draw the foot anywhere up along the leg. Okay, rooting down through that right foot, hug the right hip in, and then raising your arms up whenever you feel ready. Good, and when you do this work against the wall, you might notice some imbalances in the body. Looks like this hip doesn't want to open as much as the other side, and that's okay. So we start to work on balancing our bodies out through our yoga practice. Good, really pressing down, rooting through your heel and finding that openness along the spine. Okay, you still need to concentrate your gaze on a point on the floor, the wall, something that's not moving, so that you can hold your balance. Good, and if you want to progress to where you kind of go a little bit off the wall and see if you can maintain that balance, you can do that as well. Okay, so we'll draw the knee in, relax down. Now we'll move into some seated postures. So we're going to move into a wide leg forward fold from a seated position. So if you were rounding a lot in your low spine, if you had a hard time to sit up straight here, you would place something underneath your hips. Jenna is fine, so she's okay with that. So what you're gonna do is press out through your heels, draw your toes in towards you, kind of scoot your butt against the wall and try to lift and rotate your pelvis. So you're kind of lifting through the tailbone as it's drawing up the wall, rotating the hips forward, and Jenna's just gonna walk her hands forward to wherever she starts to feel sensation. Good, and taking long, deep breaths. So as you inhale, you'll find length. As you exhale, you'll fold. Okay, and at some point, the low back may just not go any further extended, and then at that point, you can drop your head, you can relax and just round through the upper body. But really, Jenna is focusing on still creating length in her low spine, even though her upper back is rounded. Good. Keep breathing here. Soften the pelvic floor in this position. Don't fight tension with tension. So you need to work on breathing through, relaxing, letting go, and that's when the big openings in yoga happen, not from creating more tension with tension. Okay. Good, and then we'll slowly make our way back up from this. Good, and you press your shoulder blades against the wall. You're gonna slide the right arm sort of down the leg, and the left arm's gonna reach up and over. Good, so coming down into another side stretch. Good. Yeah, perfect, and just breathing into the side. So notice she's not lifting up through her left hip, it's just grounded. She normally can reach her toes when she's doing the practice, not against the wall, but with the wall, it creates this alignment. It's creating her to open up through the rib cage and the shoulder. So even though you might have a really different practice when you're off the wall, it just goes to show how alignment-based it is when you use the wall. Okay, so we'll come up to the other side. So left hand will draw down the leg, right arm will draw up and over. Good. And grounding down through that right hip, finding the breath. And gently coming back up. Arm down. Bring the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana, the bound angle pose. So this will feel a little different than when you usually do it because the wall is sort of stopping you, and this will create a little bit of tension. So when you come down, you'll feel the stretch a little bit more, and especially if you're drawing the feet closer in towards the pelvis. So you'll just see where you want your feet to go. You'll interlace the hands, place them around your feet, okay? And then from here, just lift up through the spine. And already, I know Jenna's feeling it, right? You're feeling it into the inner thighs. Push your knees down energetically, okay? And if you wanna go deeper, she can start to bend into her elbows and start lowering towards the mat, pressing her elbows in towards her calves or thighs, and just breathing here. You never want to push your knees down forcefully, or especially don't have somebody come and touch your knees and push them down, because that will compromise the sacrum or the SI joint in the low back. So take it easy when you come down. You might even be feeling some tension there, so just breathe easily, take it gently. Good, and then slowly come up. Now, just gonna draw your knees together. You're gonna turn to face that way, okay? And you're gonna draw your legs up the wall. Your hips don't have to be touching the wall yet. So legs up. Good, this is probably good. And we're going to move into our final set of postures with using the wall and our legs up the wall. So what we'll do now is I'll get Jenna to bend her knees. So the soles of the feet are about the heels. The soles of the feet are on the wall and the heels are in line with the knees. So you'll decide if you need to bring your bum closer to the wall or further away. And on this next pose, the closer you have your bum to the wall, the harder it is. So we'll see how this goes. So the right ankle is going to cross over the left knee. And this is called pigeon pose. Okay. So Jenna is going to kind of press into that right knee. She'll flex her feet. So this helps to tighten and protect all the ligaments and tendons in the knee there. And then she'll just push away. Okay. You can also lower the left foot to make a little more stretch happen as well. So Jenna should be feeling it in her right glute, right hip area. Okay. It's a big stretch. A lot of people are tight here, so Jenna might be making it look easy. You might have to modify a little bit by just coming further off the wall. Okay. And then Jenna will place her right foot back to the wall. Good. And switch sides. So the left ankle is going to cross over. She's going to remember to flex her toes in to help protect the knee. And then maybe just gently push away onto that left knee. You might not need that extra push, so you'll just see how you feel. Breathing here. Place her foot back to the wall. So arms are going to come alongside her body now. We're going to come into bridge pose. So normally it's done with the soles of the feet on the floor, but on the wall will work too. So what Jenna's going to do is squeeze her glutes and begin to lift her hips up, and her knees are going to come up, her thighs are going to draw forward. Yeah, and you can adjust your feet as much as you'd like. And so she's taking a lot of pressure onto her upper back now, so she's just making little adjustments to make sure her shoulders feel good, her neck feels supported. And you'll do that too. That's it. It's really strengthening, so she's pushing her feet into the wall, opening up through the thighs. And then you're going to lower down vertebrae by vertebrae. Hug the knees into the chest and rock outside. And then coming back to the center. Now we're going to do essentially the same thing, but it'll be shoulder stand this time. So you'll start in the bridge, and then you'll start to work walking your feet up a little higher. Okay? So here we go. So see how she's sneaking her feet up, up, up until she's as straight as her legs can be. Okay. Some people, when they practice like this, they just take their legs up off the wall, but this is fine. You can hold your low back to support. You're feeling a lot of pressure onto your shoulders. It's a shoulder stand, so that's where the weight is being held. The chin is drawing into the neck. Good. And then again, you can walk your feet down. You can lower down vertebrae by vertebrae until your hips reach the floor. And then hug the knees in. And just kind of rock it out. Make circles with your knees, whatever feels nice. Good. Okay, so Jenna's going to straighten her legs now up the wall. You can draw your hips a little closer. So there's no real easy way to do this besides scooching your body towards the wall. And now you're going to draw the soles of the feet together, knees wide. So this is another variation of that same Baddha Konasana or butterfly pose that we did before. This way is really nice. We're just using gravity to do the job for us, relaxing through the pelvic floor, relaxing through the low belly. This whole last part of this class where we're against the wall with our legs elevated is great for before bed or anytime you want to unwind. If you've been doing a lot of traveling, it's a nice way to sort of release the blood that gets kind of pooling in our feet and calves. Good, and then you'll straighten your legs all the way up to the sky. Good, and then we can go even wider now. So she's gonna go wide V here. And to wherever you're comfortable, and she might even rest her hands to her inner thighs. Kind of rubbing there, breathing. That's it. And then we'll come into our last pose, which will be our final relaxation, which is called Viparita Karini, or legs up the wall. So for this, I'm gonna put a little lift under Jenna's hips, which feels nice. Okay, so I just put a little blanket underneath your hips. You can too. And sometimes it's nice to have a little blanket or something. This is not very weighted, but even if you have something weighted on your feet, and that will just draw some weight down into your hips. So Jenna's just gonna open up her arms, let her shoulders relax, neck is soft. So notice there's not a pillow or anything underneath her neck. It's just a nice natural curve, working on that cervical spine. And she's just gonna breathe here. So I'm gonna guide you all through a nice relaxation. So we're gonna start by focusing on the hips where you feel that pressure down, grounding into that whole pelvic region. Good. Soften your legs, soften the feet so there's no tension being held anywhere. And start to feel that grounding all the way down from the feet, calves, knees, thighs, in towards the hips and pelvic floor region. Okay. Soften the pelvic floor. Soften through the tailbone, the low back, the low belly. Soften through the navel center, the chest, and upper back. Like there's a heaviness underneath your shoulder blades that's dropping the chest down. Soften the throat, the soft palate of the mouth, the third eye, space between the eyebrows, and the crown of the head. Feeling the whole surface area of the scalp relaxing and softening, the hairs on your head relaxed. And then just staying here for a few more breaths, feeling that expansion and contraction of the breath in the whole body, that ebb and flow of life force as you inhale and exhale. Taking your time to unwind, to give back to yourself, to bring some clarity and contentment into your life. And at home, if you want to just stay here for any length of time, up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, feel free. But we'll start now moving our fingers and toes. Move your head from side to side. We'll just drop the knees down and towards the chest. You can hug the knees in. Good. And Jen will just roll over to her left side there. Or right side for her. Good. And we'll come back up to seated. And so we'll close our practice now. So just sitting up, nice and tall. Closing your eyes, resting your hands onto your knees for a moment. Feeling and sensing the effects of this supportive wall practice. Good, and just it's my intention and hopes that it made you feel a little more grounded, a little more connected. And may you go out into your day feeling that connection and support all around you. So we'll bring our hands to our hearts. Namaste.